We have assembled the Sunday Roundtable for our chat this morning, and joining us this morning are Democratic political analyst Marianne Marsh and Republican political analyst Virginia Buckingham. Guys, right off the bat, I'm just curious. The governor was just here. You heard the governor. So what's your grade? And Ginny, let me start with you. What's your grade for his handling of the pandemic so far?
You know, if grading is a series of tests that add up to an average, I'd say he's still batting an A. But finals are here, and that can count for more than half your grade, as students know. And it's going to really matter how he handles these closing months before a vaccine is available. It matters for citizens, too. We all have to do our part now, and these are going to be tough, tough months.
Marianne?
Yeah, I mostly agree with Ginny. I mean, I give him a B+. When the tough gets going, the going gets tough, and I expect Charlie Baker to step up his game even more. He certainly had a little bit of a slow start, but he's really come up and stepped up to really protect lives here in Massachusetts, do everything he could save them without any help from Donald Trump or anyone else. Formed a great partnership with Marty Walsh. They've been a great 1-2 punch, but we're headed into the toughest days that we're going to confront in this pandemic, and I expect Charlie Baker to perform even better.
You heard him also talk about police reform, what he said and what he didn't say. It's on his desk right now. What do you glean from it, if anything, Marianne?
Well, it certainly sounded at the beginning like he was going to support it and was very happy about it. And then you got to the really hard things like qualified immunity, where he certainly danced through that. I think what Charlie Baker's looking for here is to be able to have the support of the police unions. That is a staple of any Republican campaign in Massachusetts. He needs them, wants them for a third term, which it looks like he would run for. And I think he wants to do everything he can to keep them in place. When you look at the vote in the House, a number of conservative Democrats voted against this bill, as did the Republicans. It'll be interesting to see if Charlie Baker can bring some changes along that he's clearly seeking and hinted at in this interview.
He didn't show his cards on qualified immunity nor on facial recognition, Ginny. So what's your takeaway from listening to his answer?
No, but for a couple of times he went back to how happy he was with other portions of the bill, which I thought was interesting. I mean, the politics of this are really tough, and Marianne's spot on that. I think one of the reasons that Republicans nationally gained ground in the House when they weren't expected to was because of the defund the police movement. I think the fact that there's not a veto-proof majority in the House says a lot in the heavily Democratic House. So the politics are very tough, and he's going to have to tread carefully here.
It is a little too early to tell, but after all the speculation about Massachusetts Democrats being tapped by Joe Biden, it is not looking like very many from the Bay State are headed to Washington, D.C. Marianne, let me start with you. Is that good, or is that bad, or is it too early to tell?
I mean, I think the reality is that Joe Biden has not appointed any elected official to any cabinet position. In fact, only one has gone onto the White House staff, a congressman from Louisiana. So I think that has as much to do with it as anything. I don't think it's a reflection on anybody in Massachusetts as much as it is Joe Biden trying to keep people who are in office in office.
And Ginny, there is time, obviously, between now and the actual swearing in of the Biden administration of Joe Biden as president, right?
Sure, and 4 years is a long time, and there could be turnover and opportunities later. I find it interesting that this really seems so far to be an Obama administration redux. A lot of old faces that served under Obama. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know.
Federal COVID money is running out in just a matter of a couple of weeks. As you look at the latest moves in D.C., how optimistic, Ginny, are you about getting some emergency funding from Washington for the state, for the unemployed, and for businesses?
Suddenly, bipartisanship has broken out in Washington. Go figure. The latest news reports are that Mitch McConnell and Speaker Pelosi are talking, and that they've come to kind of a big picture agreement. So I'm more optimistic than I was.
And even Joe Biden has weighed in on this, right, Marianne?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like something's going to get done, but the damage is done. It is far too little, far too late. So many people have lost their homes, lost their jobs, lost their hope as a result of Congress's unwillingness to act. When they give tax cuts to the wealthiest, when you look at where the PPP money went, it went to the biggest corporations and the people with the most money, not the little mom and pop stores that needed it. So yes, money's coming finally, but it is so late, and it'll be in the worst part of the pandemic, and it is shameful it took this long.
So much for bipartisanship. It has not broken out here at Channel 5.
You
were on a good roll there for a little bit, but
Next item is the MBTA. It's facing nearly a $600 million deficit. The question, and Marianne, let me start with you. Is it time to cut service considering how low ridership has been during the pandemic, or is there a one-stop fix for all?
No. I mean, again, speaking of too little, too late, if you want to know why the T never works, runs on time, or is something people want to use, look at this decision. Everybody else in Massachusetts and elsewhere are repaving streets, redoing the transit lines, doing everything they can to be prepared for when we open up again that everything's going to be better except the T. Instead of making it safer, more reliable, sanitary, and all the things you would want so people won't use their cars, the T's like, hey, yeah, let's shut it down. We're not going to do anything. We need to cut. And everyone is saying that they are crying wolf. And the public opposes it in the polling. The legislature needs to land on them. Political pressure is coming. The T has never known what to do on the right day.
Ginny, I'm telling you, it's a multifaceted issue, isn't it?
I mean, of course it is, and ridership is way down because of the pandemic, and there is a deficit. You can argue about how big it is. I think cuts are inevitable. Hopefully there's a balance, and hopefully there's a reevaluation in terms of, let's look at, as we get to a vaccine and people go back to work, can we ramp back up where we've had to cut back?